Okay, so I said I would do it, and I'm going to try to start basically just holding the camera and walking us through each ship that I've built, custom built. I do want to emphasize that. I mean, it might be obvious to some, but there are some people who might think they're kits, especially the later two. Not this one, no. This is very easy to tell, but some of the later ones, because I standardized the whole construction. There could be a bit of misinterpretation of them being partial kits, at least. Not to, I don't know, make myself sound too professional. God, no. Everything here is self-taught on this channel. Let's see. So, the first ship that I built from Lego was the Yamato, right? And basically, this was truly just a bunch of spare parts. I mean, you can see the many layers of just plates that I have stacked up to form the bow. Um, and that was probably the least efficient area that I built things. We're going to start at the bottom, by the way. But in the middle section was actually pretty good. I was able to use these tile pieces and then put plate at the bottom. And basically, you put the tiles, then you lay the plates over the top, and then you repeat until I get down here. So that was reasonably well built, and it's kind of what I used later on, just simplified even further. And then the back section is kind of like the front. You know, just a bunch of plates built up to try and form a flat base. I couldn't really get these corners. I didn't have any of those pieces at the time. So it's a very crude transition to the back there. God. Now moving to the turrets. The turret construction is pretty basic. Once I got one formula down, I just rinsed and repeated. So you have your plate acting as the foundation, two of the 2x4 bricks, some swivel pieces here at the front, kind of build up with a single stud sort of axle rotating plate there in the middle to try and get the barrels to be even length. Here we got these, again, just literally using whatever I had on hand. This one here I actually cut myself in order to make it fit. So yeah, with these, it's quite really a mashup of parts. The planes, though, I think came out pretty well. You got the little plane taken off here. You can move the catapults around. Yeah. You got a little bit of a crane there in the back. An extra plane here in the middle. Now, for the... Getting a little close there. For the anti-aircraft guns and for the secondaries, it was pretty simple. For the anti-aircraft guns, I just put these antenna pieces in the respective spots. And then for the secondaries, they're kind of a scaled down version of the main battery. So for the 6-inch guns, right, I used a lot of kinetic Technic pieces. Technical? Yeah, technical sort of Bionicles after Bionicles disappeared, right? Lego Technic pieces. Again, you have your swivel pieces all put together, 3x1. And right here, you're going to have those same pieces as the middle. You're going to have the like this here, right? That piece is critical to connecting a lot of things, especially if they're odd numbers like these three guns. And then here, again, you just kind of scale that down to make your 5-inch guns. And let's see, the superstructure, you can get the antennas here. Basically the range finders, right? Kind of look all the way down here. Got some more secondaries in the back over the rear main battery. More tucked away anti-aircraft stations. And that's about it, you know. Technical skill wise, I would say it's pretty simple. It's just collecting all the pieces, especially for something like Yamato, which had a lot of, you know, curves to make the hull as efficient as possible when the Japanese were designing it. You really need some specific parts, but for bare bones spare parts, I think it came out pretty well. Especially this here, getting like the raised sloping up, because Yamato has that area that slopes up. I'm glad I had this. This was left over from like an old submarine kit, I think, or an old Star Wars kit. I can't remember. But yeah, little conning tower there with some basic cylinders. There's not too much else to tell. I would like to go back at some point and sort of perhaps change a few things and rebuild some parts, but I am more focused on just future projects, you know, like the Richelieu. I think I made a video of that. And I actually kind of like looking back at this because it reminds me of where I started, you know, and how I've improved over time. So that's going to do it for this one. It's a nice, short, simple explanation, a little bit more in depth from the intro video that I started out with, actually a few months ago at this point. In the next one, we will go over the HMS Hood, though I do have to put out a bit of a fair warning. The hood is in a bit of a mess right now. Structurally, she's fine. But I've been trying to strip off all that sealant from my failed floating experiment, so her hull is a bit of a mess. And I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to really restore it. It's a bit of a crime. I'll go into more detail in that the upcoming video, but until then, I thank y'all for joining me, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace.